Let's talk about metal. No, I mean the art of forging metal, or blacksmithing. It dates back to 4500 BC, when people figured out the metal could be shaped with fire. Since then, weapons, jewelry, and tools have all been made by blacksmiths. Initially shaping metal with rocks, by the 9th century they started using hammers, but the process was still the same. You heat it, you hammer it, and you shape it. Blacksmiths today are a rare breed. They combine modern tools with ancient techniques to create and forge high-quality metalwork. Meet Mac Osborne, an artisan blacksmith forging unique creations with fire and steel. He may only be 24 years old, but Mac has already developed his blacksmith skills abroad and is now teaching the heavy metal art to the next generation of modern blacksmiths.
I'm Mac Osborne, and I'm a blacksmith.
What's the best part about being a blacksmith?
I think the best part of being a blacksmith would have to be the physicality and the creativity. I like to be able to work and feel like you've done something at the end of the day. It gives you a feeling of accomplishment. There's something primal about it. That might sound weird, but it's an ancient craft. Whenever I take a piece of hot steel out and you just see it, and there's always that kind of just childlike, oh, isn't that cool? Look at that. Isn't that neat? It's a very basic pleasure. I just like it.
Mac's a blacksmith, so that's interesting, right? You don't meet a blacksmith every day. I know a blacksmith works with metal, but what does he make? Is he making horseshoes? Is he making swords, battle axes? What are some of the things that you make?
I make a lot, because I make just about everything. You know, if someone asks for something, anything, squid, I want a rose, I want a coat hanger, anything. Just you think of it, if it's made out of steel, I can make it.
I don't know much about blacksmithing, but I can imagine it's very physical work. I can imagine it's very hot work, and I can imagine it can be really creative. What do you love about working with metal?
Metal's rock solid, right? It's incredibly strong stuff. So the ability to take it, heat it up, and then manipulate it like that, it's wild to me that you can do that. And then cool it down, and it's back to what it was.
So how hot does this get?
About 2,000 to 2,500 degrees hottest. So 2,500 degrees is forge welding temperature. I very rarely get to that point. I pretty much never bring the forge up to that. She sits at 2,000.
Take me through the creation of a rose. Where does a rose start?
It starts off as a 3.5-inch plate. So then I cut a little petal shapes out of it with my plasma cutter. Then you got a real rough petal shape for your roses. We take her over to the forge, and we start hammering up those petals because we want to get a really heavy texture on there. So once we get those all hammered out, we take them over to the drill press. We drill a couple holes in them so I can put the stems through. And we stick those petals on top of the stem there, weld them on, back in the forge, bend them up until they're a nice little petal shape. And that's pretty much it. Any little fine tweaking, but that's it.
The process is really interesting to see the fusion of tools and modern techniques mixed with like classic tried and true blacksmithing techniques. Seeing it all come together in the modern creations that Mac is making, it's really fascinating work.
I'd like the world to know that we exist, that we're around. I'm here, I'm doing the craft, I'm not in some medieval castle somewhere, I'm here. Come find me, I'll make you cool stuff out of metal.
And there you have it. Mac's forging his own path and proving that blacksmithing isn't just hammering horseshoes. And if you need a blacksmith, you don't have to travel to Winterfell. Just track down Mac and strike while the iron's hot.